Take a look at these two email designs and think about which one you like best. I like this one, but maybe you like that one. And that is why testing is important. At Bad Marketing, we generated over $55 million in sales last year with email alone. But you can't do that without testing and understanding what works for your audience. So in this video, we are going to cover in less than 5 minutes the different things that we test. Email campaigns, flow tests, pop-up tests, to make sure that our emails have the maximum impact and generate the most money possible for our clients, and how you can do the same thing. Every single email that you send is a new opportunity to hone in on exactly what works for your customers. These are some of the variables that we test in our email campaigns across dozens of different brands to boost opens, clicks, and most importantly, conversions. First is CTA language. This is super important. Does something straightforward like shop the sale work better? Or you could try humor like this Mother's Day CTA we ran. Or maybe something more emotional and aspirational like experience it for yourself. There's really no way of knowing what your audience is going to prefer, so test different approaches and look at what the results tell you. Another thing to test is your CTA button design. For example, rounded edges versus rectangular. Or do your brand colors convert? Or can you find another color that pops more? And then for your hero image, do people engage more with a static photo or does a looping GIF work better? How about a product shot versus lifestyle imagery? A cozy organic photo versus a glossy close-up? All things to think about when designing an email. And then there's the subject line. This is the first thing that people are going to see when they receive your emails, so it's huge. Here's some of the things that we like to look at. One thing we play around with is emojis. For example, what happens if we put an emoji at the beginning of the subject line versus the end versus no emoji at all? Or you could try different lengths of your subject lines. You could try short, snappy hooks like sale ends tonight versus something a little longer, maybe having a little fun and speaking directly to the customer, like this one for a custom PC builder that we work with. Does personalizing your subject line with the customer's first name help? Or you could try framing the subject line as a question like this, or as a strong statement like this one. You can have a lot of fun with your subject lines. Don't be afraid to get weird and creative because remember, the goal here is to get noticed and ultimately get your customer to open the email. Just make sure to test different things and then track what's working. And then there's price. Will it be off-putting to include price, or does being upfront about price convert better? We've tested this with tons of different clients, and the answer is it kind of just depends. Test it for yourself and see what works. And then there's customer reviews. Do you include them in your emails? Where do you include them? And do you include customer photos or just text? Another thing to be experimenting with are your email flows. These are your automated sequences like a welcome flow or an abandoned cart flow or post-purchase follow-ups. These emails convert in the background, but only if you put in the work to optimize them. Here's some things we test. One is time delays. For example, how long do you wait to send an abandoned cart reminder? Here's an example of a test we ran for one of our clients. We tested 4 hours versus an hour and a half to send an abandoned cart reminder, and what we found was that the longer wait time had a higher open rate, it had a better click rate, and ultimately it resulted in more orders placed. Other things you can be testing are one-size-fits-all follow-up emails versus product-specific ones. So let's say you had a customer abandon their cart with a skincare product in it. Do you send them a generic complete your purchase now email? Or do you send them one focused specifically on that skincare product that they were looking at? Another thing to look at is reviews versus no reviews. And sometimes you just need to sell your product more, so test adding benefits as well. These are all things you should be testing in your email flows to see what yields the best result. And then next is your website pop-ups. You might hate them, but if you have these set up right, they can really pay off big. Here's a few things we like to test. First are incentives, 15% off versus 20% off, or you can gamify it with a spin to win wheel. And then there's timing. Does your pop-up show up after 5 seconds of the user being on your site, or wait 10 seconds? Or you could try a scroll trigger. Wait until someone scrolls through 30% of your page, maybe 60%. And then there's different design approaches. For example, a full screen pop-up versus a small subtle box in the corner. All things that you should be testing. So I might sound like a broken record here, but this is the big takeaway. Don't try to guess what your audience is going to respond to. Test it, measure it, and then double down on what works. For more proven marketing strategies like this, hit that like button, give us a follow, and drop your biggest email question in the comments, and maybe we'll make a video about that next.